reached Imperial Reviews, and today's review will be Werewolves. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let's get into it. Happy New Year's 2025. It's the first video of the new year. Let's get into it. Pick up where we left off last year. So this movie, I did watch a few movies over the holidays that I'll be uploading soon. I just didn't upload them during the time, so just start the new year off with this is the first upload of the new year. So you got the cast of Frank Grillo as Wesley Marshall, Katrina Law as Dr. Amy Chen, Lanisha Hadera as Lucy Marshall, James Michael Cummings as Cody Walker, Lou Diamond Phillips as Dr. Aranda, James Kyson as Miles Chen, Ian White as the lead wolf, Dane Liegro as another wolf, and Ian Farr as another wolf. So this movie, I picked the trailer out on my channel. This movie was just something to watch. The plot of it, a year ago from the start of the movie, a full moon happened and random people just start turning into werewolves, and out of nowhere, and they don't know what caused it. So now it's been a year later, so they had experience, and it's like the Purge. So not like the Purge, let me not say it's like the Purge, but in the sense of when I say the Purge, once it goes nighttime and the moon comes out, people turn into the werewolves, and they stay in a werewolf form up into daylight. During that time, you want to be locked in your home, you want to be barricaded, because the werewolves will kill you. So the scientists try to develop a serum that could be taken, that when they change, if they give them the serum, they won't be affected by turning of the full moon. So that's where we at. And so Frank, who's the main character, Frank Grillo's character Wesley, his niece and sister-in-law lost his brother. So he's being protective over them. So he works at the lab with the scientists, and he tells them, he barricades the house up and everything, tells the sister-in-law pretty much, hey, if things go left, this is what you need to do. Now their neighbor, he's like gun-ho. He got guns, he's ready to go. But Wesley don't really care for him too much. So you see it's going to be some friction going on with him in the movie. Nevertheless, back at the lab, when everything's about to go down, the town is shut down, everything, and back at the lab, they got 4 volunteer people inside of a chamber, and they open up the roof of the lab to let the moonlight hit. And so while they letting the moonlight hit, one of the people that's being a volunteer is scared. You got another one that's real crazy. And so what happens is the scientists, they have like hazmat suits on, and they got all these different precautions that, like, if you take this and it'll help you be blind too, so you won't get the moonlight won't hit you, and then you could turn and stuff like that. So they got a lot of different things that they use to offset. So when the moonlight hits, it looks like the people were normal, and they didn't take effect because the serum is working. But all of a sudden, a little bit after, one of them started to wear off and started to change, and they was like, okay, hey, it's not working, shut the roof, and we gotta basically sedate them. So of course, all heck breaks loose. One of the wolves, somebody was too close. So what happened was, when they thought the serum was working, they wanted to go in and get samples and all this stuff. So by the time they went in to get samples and changed in, the people started to change into the werewolves. By that time, of course, one of the werewolves grabbed like the big machine and tossed it. By tossing the big machine, it left a crack in the dome of the lab that was already closed. So now the moonlight was still shining through. So people that worked at the lab, scientists, they started to change into werewolves, and then all heck broke loose. Meanwhile, back at Wesley's home with his niece and sister-in-law, the neighbor that he didn't care for, he sees a werewolf. He's gun-ho shooting at the werewolves or whatever. So one of the werewolves threw I don't know, it was like a some type of whatever it through his house window, knocked him out unconscious, came in, turned him, and he turned into a werewolf. Now he's becomes the main antagonist, werewolf, going after his neighbor and whatever. So he calls the rest of the werewolves to come join and help him, because Wesley, he made that house Fort Knox, put electric devices all around. So he put up a lot of different things to prevent the werewolves from coming through. But of course, they got through. They eventually get through all that. Nevertheless, meanwhile, Wesley and another one of the scientists, they got to make their way to his sister-in-law and niece's home. So on their journey getting there, they just going through the city, a bunch of different fighting werewolves. They run into different militia groups that was basically fighting back against the werewolves. And they run into a group for help, but this group is pretty much don't care for them. They ain't looking for outsiders. So they kind of sent them on their way. But when they got up, what eventually happened, this militia group that was shooting all the werewolves, they end up getting killed. So when they got killed, they end up taking a pickup truck. But the scientist woman, she sacrificed herself in a sense. She said she want to try something. So she put something on, and she went into one of the werewolves and screamed at it, and the werewolf screamed at her. And they kind of looked at her like, well, she must be one of us. So it allowed Wesley to get to the pickup truck. He looking for her to get in the truck with him. Right when she got to the truck, she just had this dumb look on her face, and a werewolf came and just grabbed her and pulled her up. And then you don't know what happened to her from there, because it never showed her get killed. It just showed her get pulled up. So you don't know. She could end up alive if this was to be a part 2. I don't see why it would be a part 2. Nevertheless, Wesley gets home. He's there to save his niece and sister-in-law, because the neighbor that's now a werewolf is trying to kill them. So eventually he makes it through and pretty much tells them that he loves them, but he gotta do what he gotta do. So his mission is, in order to save them, he gotta turn into the werewolf himself and kill the neighbor werewolf. So he gave them a timer, say, hey, daylight sets at this time, and then, you know, all the werewolves should turn back. So he turns into the werewolf, pretty much destroys the neighbor werewolf, and now he enters back into the home. He's going to kill them. So the sister-in-law pretty much said, basically, like, remember your family. I know you in there. Remember your family. Show the werewolf pictures, and then she pulled out a shotgun, and so the time went off. The time went off in her watch to let her know that it's daylight now. So she shot through the roof. It beamed in sunlight. Sunlight got on Wesley, and then he changed back into his regular self. The end of the story. So, something to watch. Nothing over the top. Nothing a must see. Just if you happen to be looking at something and you're bored, tune into it. Out of my 4-star rating system, I give it a 1.5 out of 4 stars. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Till next time, Happy New Year.